Hey everybody, welcome back to Sketchcraft. What is this? Obi-Wan speed coloring. So I did this in 2017, hence the quality of video. It's really just kind of a bitrate issue at the time. I couldn't capture the appropriate bitrate. But I thought it'd be fun to put this out and talk about it. So right here, I already did the line drawing with red mechanical pencil and ink. Actually used a nib to do this. So this is just Colner red burgundy ink and then red color Pentel mechanical pencil. And now I'm coloring this with polychromos color pencils, which I still use to this day. Funny part is I tend to go straight to color now, but I do like the shape rendering I got with the red color pencil. Like it did help me carve out shapes that I kind of wouldn't always do, especially like with the robing and the fabric and the drapery and all that stuff. So all I'm doing is tinting right here, the red with the color first, and then sort of filling in the gaps as I go. This is a slow process. I think for faster commissions, certainly I would just go straight to color, but for something a little bit more detailed that requires a little bit more patience and effort, I do like the result of this effort, truly. So I just remember this taking like 8 hours or something to color initially, which is, just not doable on a typical commission. But yeah, so grays are fun to try to do whenever you're doing color pencil, especially over like a red highlight. Because you need little bits of blue, little bits of purple, little bits of different colors, and these rows, which are all brown. So here I'm using like a terracotta kind of yellow. And I think with this process, you kind of want to start with the mid value. So if you're going to have a brown robe, you'd want to start with the middle brown or brownish yellow color and then push into dark and then pop with highlight at the end versus with opaque paint, starting with darker colors and going to light, or with watercolors starting light and going to dark. I actually think starting with the middle value on the color pencil actually works a little bit better because you can use the darks to pop the shapes and then allow the highlights to be tinted where they need to be, but allowing the white to still be the brightest part of the image, which really is just something that I sort of stumbled into after doing years of this kind of color pencil rendering. So this is just me sort of tinting, the area. Plus having that red underneath means that if I add very little color pencil, I can have like a red underglow, which is similar to underpainting. When you do acrylic or oil painting, sometimes you have that underpainting, unless you have that kind of colored glow. This sketch cover had like a real glossier surface, which a lot of people don't like, but I kind of do, especially with the oil color pencils, because a slicker surface means that I can get more of the color pencil tick marks. I've tried to find this stock. I don't know where they find this. But look at a lot of people hate coloring on this stuff, but for color pencil, I really like it. In the meantime, I use B marker paper or 4-ply Strathmore Bristol 400 or 500 series, either are, which will have a similar slicker surface. So the lightsaber I really worried about when I worked on this because I wanted the blade to feel alive and glowy. And with marker, which I've done before, I've never liked the look of it. But here I was able to just slowly tint it blue and then add the glow as I went. And if you're patient, you've kind of enjoyed the process, you can get a really nice glow out of it that doesn't require airbrushing or anything else. And here I'm able to tint some of the reds and blues, especially when you see me get to the more saturated blue here. I'll be able to tint some of the browns, right? The browns and yellows here. So it definitely feels more like it's glowing. I think too, keeping a sharper tip helps when you want little details, but when you want coverage, you can kind of roll the side of the pencil. Also, when you're using color pencil, if you want more color, you don't have to burnish everything. Burnish is where you press down hard. You can just put your hand closer to the front of the pencil, and you want lighter glazing colors. You just hold it further back, and you can tint without having to press down on your hand. When you're doing color pencil, really avoid pressing down as much as possible. You will kill your knuckles. Give yourself some form of injury over the long term, hand fatigue for certain. But I can do this for 8 hours and have no hand fatigue because I'm not pressing at all when I do this. Very little. Very little when I say that. Very little. So that's enough of a lightsaber blue for now, and then I'll go back into the robe. And again, I love this process. Always have. Color pencil's always been a favorite of mine, but I didn't discover oil-based color pencils until 2017. I'd always used the Prismacolors, and I kind of stopped for 15 years because I did kill my knuckles doing the wax-based Prismacolor stuff. I think 2002 or 3 was the last time. I stopped until 2015, 2017. Oh, 2017, yeah, so it's 15 years. And it really bums me out because I think had I known about this oil-based ones, I would have been doing color pencil for 15 years. So now I'm adding more of like a purpley magenta kind of color, adding a little bit of reds, and then the gray. These gray ones I use the least amount out of the color pencils. But when you want a lot of earthy tonal colors, you can get some play out of it. So a little bit of green, a little bit of gray, always in the neutral section. You do have to use your mind to see value out of the hue. There's hue and value. So you definitely want to keep your values in check while you're doing this. But having that red shade definitely gives me a lighting guide, and it allows me to not have to stress too much about the value because I do know where the middle value is, essentially. I do find sometimes with color pencil, because you can add a lot of little colors and color fluctuation, which I love. Sometimes you can go rainbowy, so I would be wary of that. Don't go rainbowy and rainbow everything where everything has oranges and greens and purples and blues. Sometimes I do these days create a lighting guide in Photoshop, but I would not come up with all these fold shapes in Photoshop. I'd probably be more simpler in my guides. So, you do find shapes on the page, and I think being able to do this lighting guide first with the red pencil and then doing a color guide over it would probably be the way I'd move forward. Today, just looking at this now. And I do, instead of going straight to black, I'll do like a navy indigo and then do black, because you can get a lot of coverage and darkness out of an indigo. But then you can save the actual black when you want pure black. I like these boots. Thought these boots were fun, triangular shapes. But see, with that red color pencil rendering, I can get some really good shape out of it before I ever add color. And this is just something I basically swipe from Drew Struzan, where in his paintings he would do color pencil. That's how you do a regular graphite under drawing, and then he'd add acrylic paint airbrushed in color pencil over that. So I'm just doing this without the acrylic paint airbrushing, essentially. And I'm doing this without a gessoed surface, just on a sketch cover. It's the same basic idea, only I use red color pencil because I like the red undercolor versus graphite. I like the warmth. And then now I'm going to start the background. This is Distress ink, Tim Holtz Distress ink, Distress. And I got little stampers, custom ones I made. They do make square and circular stamps you can buy. I've made my own custom ones because I want larger coverage with these. But you don't have to. You can just buy the basic ones. And the basic ones have giant handles, which I didn't want giant handles. I just wanted a clean little stamp. But these have little sponges attached to the back with Velcro, and when they die, I can rip them off and put the Tim Holtz stampers back on there. So I'm just stamping the stuff on and getting good coverage with this. And you get a lighter coverage, similar to airbrush, very similar to airbrush. But you can get little strokes and carve out little painterly shapes with it, which is nice. And then I'll add color pencil on top to get some more blending or textural effects out of it. But this allows me to have a colored background that doesn't warp or bend or destroy the cover in any way. Although these days I could easily do a gouache background too and not have to worry too much about it. The quality of sketch covers are better today than they were when I did this. And then here I'm just adding a yellow glow around Obi-Wan to sort of tie in the background, and I'll add little orange. Right here, see dark orange around the core just to pop them out. And this is just a simple little technique I learned doing t-shirts for 20-something years, licensed apparel. And that's essentially it. Folks, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. If you have anything you'd like me to do in the future, you really want me to see me tackle, let me know. I would love to do that. We're going to have more color pencil stuff happening this year, and I will see you all at my website, sketchcraft.com, or later on this channel. Like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Peace.